laner than just the statistics, but we will be jumping straight into that pick and ban with BBQ on the blue side, banning Xayah. Bit of a broken AD carry right now. One of the ones that actually makes waves more than the Ashe and Varus, which, as you were pointing out, are the most picked champions in the LCK so far.
Yeah, those two AD carries, they don't get banned too often, and they're kind of the top two after Xayah as well, so it does make sense. Kalista comes in every once in a while, shows her face, certain compositions.
And we might see her today, as both these teams have had some success with the Kalista and Thresh being such a powerful pick. However, the Graves will be taken away from Mighty Bear. Odd choice, considering that Graves' success in the LCK has been stagnant.
Yeah, it's very much a respect ban. You know, we talked about Mighty Bear's stats on Graves. It seems like he has the highest mastery of that one champion, and even now that Graves has been nerfed a bunch, he's still playing a lot, so they're just like, no, we got to take that away.
And now Lee Sin being the left-up champion, and you have to take it absolutely. When Elise has been removed, you know that Bless has been playing this champion heavily, and while some of his performances are a little off the cuff with getting caught out many times, he does have some game-winning moments every now and then, and that's what you get out of this pick. But the Tigers are prepared for it. They would not have banned Elise and Syndra if they were not ready to take on the Lee Sin with another jungler. And so perhaps we might get to see the Olaf or even the Kazakhs, but they will be taking away that Caitlyn, one of the very strong late game AD carries. And when you see Caitlyn being locked away, you know that the composition will revolve around this pick. So strong laning phase in the bottom lane, as well as just a beefy front line in as many places as possible. Galio is still available, and it does add for a great front line to protect from the Caitlyn. However, it will be that Gragas, and it is a flex pick, but we most likely will see it in the jungle, considering that there aren't many great junglers left up.
I've been seeing it picked quite often. Definitely is like number 3, number 4 comes in after all those bans, especially now that we have 10 bans.
Hey, Totoro.
There you go. And that's Ghost there on the right.
You know, I've actually never seen that animal in a movie.
That animal in the movie? What animal?
Is it
the
not
Totoro?
An animal? Yeah, the Totoro.
I don't think that's an animal, Crumbs. I don't think
I
don't think that exists in real life.
No, I know.
I think it's a cartoon.
Spirited Away. It's from Studio Ghibli films.
Oh.
That's where it's from. See, at least I even knew
So it's
that
like
part.
a created animal,
Let's not go down this path real quick. It's only going to get worse for us. But Rumble and Talia will be the picks taken away from BBQ. So lots of pushing power in the top and middle from this team already, and we can expect a lot of priority around Herald this time around. An objective that has its wave. Some teams have been using it to success, such as Samsung, but others have been using it really poorly. This will open up the map, and you can expect Crazy to just go on a rampage, invading and making moves into the solo lanes, and it's going to be a matter of how defensive can the duo lane from BBQ play, and what synergies can they have into this lineup. It has to be some heavy physical lineup and preferably some crowd control as well, but the Braum gets taken away, easily recognizing that it would have been a good fit for this composition.
Well, we still have Blitzcrank available. If we do want to see Totoro pick that up, perhaps this would be the time. We'll see if Tigers are going to ban that out. No, they're just going to ban out Tom Kench. Going to take away some of that anti-pick power.
Yeah, going with the full, let's make sure that the Thresh can succeed. However, a Blitz would be a questionable choice, considering that Lantern is always a threat for disengaging and then re-engaging onto the Blitzcrank, and making it
We've
so...
seen multiple hookers in the bot lane before, Crumbs.
I play jungle, so I don't know what you're talking about. The Assassins do get taken away, however, from Temp, so that he has a bit of an easier laning phase. But the Kled will have an easy time against Rumble this time around. Obviously, in the early stages, he will get pushed in, but once the game progresses, the magic resistance starts coming out, the Black Cleavers, the Titanic Hydras, the pushing power really gets unrivaled, and Tigers already have scaling on their side so far. And what BBQ will have to select as well, your classic Varus, making sure that there's a lot of crowd control, some physical damage onto this lineup. And Zyra wouldn't be a surprising pick. It would benefit the laning phase tremendously. And so they will lock it away, and just a tremendous amount of crowd control from BBQ.
Zyra definitely seeing a lot of play nowadays, even in the Doran Shield meta. Kind of interesting to see that. I was thinking maybe Nami, especially with the heavy engage from the Thresh Kled from the Tigers, but definitely feeling that Zyra pick here is BBQ. And now just one pick left. It's got to be the mid laner here for Mickey.
Could it be Cassidy here? The assassins have been taken away, and it would be a good matchup into Tempt, fitting the idea of trying to go with a later scaling composition, but it will not, as they take away the Galio.
This is like so not Mickey too. You know, he loves to play these assassins. He loves to get aggressive, and then they just put him on Galio. It's like I said this before. My distaste for the Galio. I feel like it's kind of making the mid lane a little bit stale nowadays.
But it's a challenge. Mickey's one guy that will not stale out the mid lane, because now it's up to him to see, can he feed on Galio? Can he carry on Galio? Because he's not going to be able to go for these crazy solo kills. And you're saying that it's really not Mickey's style, and it seems like they're trying to contain the explosiveness of Mickey that can go one way or the other, put him on the champion that in itself has such little variables that he just has to be a pinnacle of pressure in the mid lane that will at least be able to keep up with Talia in pushing and can answer the roams from the Weaver's Wall with his own heroic entrance.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I definitely do like the pick in this situation, even for the comp. It's just, you know.
You just hate Galio. You're a Galio hater.
I am a Galio hater. Not a big fan of the Gargoyle, but...
To be fair, everyone's a Gargoyle now with Gargoyle Stone Plate being accessible.
So, going over the lineups here just a bit, you guys can see definitely a pretty aggressive lineup. Lots on the side of BBQ.
And the late game for the ROX Tigers will revolve solely around Sangyun. The DPS from Galio, Gragas, and Kled are quite easy to mitigate, and so the team fights will revolve around Bless. Can he single out Sangyun and get the fights going?
Yep, that definitely is the question. So there you have it. Lots of cool skins here for both teams as we load up game number one. Let's do it, guys. Game number one here from the ROX Tigers versus the BBQ Olivers. Let's jump onto the Rift.
Saw them both.
That was actually kind of scary. I'm not sure how well you guys can hear through our mics, but...
I didn't know positive reinforcement was causing us trembles.
I don't know. She was just really going hard. The cheerleader there for the ROX Tigers. She's probably been around for a while, ever since the glory days of the ROX Tigers.
Just trying to relive those days in a completely... However, the bonus is that as both teams are 0-3, they can walk away with a victory. So if the time was to win has ever been closer, it's now.
Yeah. Now's the time. Who's going to do it?
Who's going to push the other team to the bottom of the table? Push down their head deeper into the pool and say, I have some semblance of life. I have air.
Yeah. Both of these teams are sinking fast, but one of them is going to climb on top of the other one and not drown for now.
And you're giving me flashbacks to being 13. They will steal away some of these Raptor camps as Gragas is... Oh, they just go for the ward instead. So looking for some early scouting, and now they'll be able to know that the dual lane has been giving Alicia away while Blessed jungles by himself. However, this means that both junglers will end up pathing to the top side of the map.
Interesting trade up here in the top. Not too much going on, but Linderong definitely zoning out crazy for now. Trying to deny him some XP. Looks like he was able to slightly.
1 CS for 0 and then level 2 gank. That's going to be a flash play maybe?
They're going for Ghosts now. The hook was taken level 1. Death Sentence will not land, but they do get both flashes out of the bot lane.
Big commitment there to make sure that this bottom lane succeeds, and it will be against the intentions of BBQ's bottom lane. Pushing with the top side of the map, and then you have Zyra and Varus being able to wave clear much more effectively than Thresh, and as such, they will have to respect this lane a lot more as Key still has flash, but it does come at the opportunity cost of Bless being able to invade this red side jungle and taking away a lot of the camp. So Mighty Bear sacrificing himself for the benefit of the team composition, which is going to be that Caitlyn come the late stage of the game.
Not sure if it's worth it. We'll definitely have to see how far ahead Bless can get from here because he was able to take both red buffs. He should secure 3 buffs for himself, and it's going to be kind of hard to gank this Kled, but he is stealing a lot of the jungle from the red side of Gragas from Mighty Bear, so definitely having a good start here for Bless.
And it's a trade-off. He's now going to be the one responsible for making things happen for BBQ as the advantage was transferred onto him. And meanwhile, you can expect the BBQ bottom lane to be a little bit more passive, while Sangyun will definitely have to be picking up a lot more weight as the game progresses. And he already is doing so, sitting at a bit of an 8 CS lead. With only 3 waves gone so far, it's quite significant.
Yeah, it definitely is. With both of those flashes down too, Thresh definitely can make some plays happen. Looks like for now they're just really trying to push in the lane and deny as much CS as possible though.
And it's working, and because Bless is in the top side of the map, they can feel comfortable just continuously pushing in. They know that they have a big window of pressure that Lee Sin will have to base, and even after he bases, they still have the time that it takes him to recall and find a route to the bottom side of the map, as they've warded the Krugs, and they're capable of playing this way because Gragas is also jungling in this side of the map. And so ROX has already been very clear about the game plan very early on. And it's up to BBQ to answer, and it seems like they aren't really getting any advantages anywhere else.
Look at Mighty Bear going deep in here. He's going to steal the big one. Immediately, Bless gets on top of him. But a bit of a trade between Tempt and Mickey. Actually, nice jump by Bless there to dodge the taunt with his W.
And he can invade even though he's a level down because of the pressure that Mickey has. This is what the Galio power brings. This is why the pick is so heavily contested, as it opens up your jungle to be as aggressive as possible. And typically a matchup of Lee Sin into Gragas, you would expect Lee Sin to be the one making the aggressive moves, but the power of your laners is what we've been hitting on for pretty much a year and a half now, since the very serious changes have happened to League of Legends. And it shows, as people will sacrifice the assassin prowess of put him on champions like Galio just because it's the right way to play the meta.
Yeah, and you can see that Tempt is keeping up, actually about 3 CS ahead of Mickey right now, so doing a good job of just making sure he's not losing too much, even though he is getting...
But it's a bottom lane from BBQ that needs to be rethinking what their game plan is going to be, as a 16 CS lead is happening on over Ghost. However, there is a big wave that is going to happen, but considering how much he's been missing under tower so far, it wouldn't be surprising if he misses some of these without any pressure happening. So let's see, that's 7, so he's got to be hitting 45. Just did math.
Just did math on
and he got him all perfectly. Good job.
Nicely done. Wish we could have seen that happen though. Was curious. There's not much else going on in this game right now, so.
Well, we'll talk about the ROX's game plan, as clearly they're focusing into the bottom side of the map, but they don't get the luxury of having an important dragon early on. It's going to be that cloud dragon for them, and that's not going to help them with this goal. Ideally, they would have wanted a mountain or even a fire dragon. A mountain would have been a little preferable, as it would have accelerated their abilities to take down turrets and objectives, considering that their comp doesn't have crazy Baron damage. But nonetheless, that is the hand they are dealt.
Yeah, I feel like we don't get the most exciting dragons over here at SpoTV.
We have gotten some. We have gotten some.
Some, but most games I feel like start off with either Ocean Drake or Cloud Drake. Not a fan.
Well, I actually prefer the Herald as an objective this time around over the dragons. It's really exciting to watch as these teams fumble using it or use it effectively. We see them try to disrupt the channeling of it. And now we see a lot of players, they have to hide before they channel it. The 4-second is a big commitment to using it, but Mighty Bear will be invading, and there is a teleport for both these top laners if they are to assist this. Let's see, he might just be going for a steal. Here it comes.
Looks like it. He is going to show himself, and nice steal there from Mighty Bear. Of course, because of that ward, they were able to get key on in there, and really no hope for Bless to take that one.
complete vision into this top side signals the possibility of a Weaver's Wall coming up here, but Mickey's positioning for a heroic entrance if need be. Here it comes. I expect Mickey to respond.
Yeah, where's the response? He's going to wait until he hops off Skarl, and Linderong, he's going deep. He doesn't really care. Eating a bunch of damage, but will get away with his life, and BBQ forced to back off after the heroic entrance does commit.
Yeah, so they don't commit anything more than that, as Galio would have easily thwarted that entire attempt. But now they have a bit of an option of returning to that lane. Lee Sin can show back up there as Linderang stays in low HP. But it's a good denial from ROX Tigers here, seeing what BBQ is trying to attempt with their composition and just stopping it dead in its tracks. And this opens up the late game window that is what they're looking for. That is their win condition.
Dev's just going to get taunted up here. Just taking a bit of damage, not really any kill pressure from this Galio lane, which is another thing we talk about a lot. He kind of just sits there and pushes, and
he looks fancy. He's got this debonair outfit. You got to be patient when you look that good.
You don't want to get your clothes dirty, that's for sure. We got Totoro coming up here. He's only level 5. Will land the root. Can they get the knock up? No, not in time. Did I sound really disappointed?
My God. I'm on the edge of my seat on that one. But you can't give too much flack to ROX Tigers for this draft, because both these teams are looking for a win, and it's obvious that they both struggle with closing out games. And so when you pick the most late game composition you can come up with, and ensure that when the game hits late game, as the teams will start to struggle, you will have a higher chance of success.
Look at this, though. We have a bit of a lane swap here from the Tigers saying, okay, we don't care about that Cloud Drake, and we can get up here earlier than BBQ can recognize. So
bizarre rotation. You always have to consider the equalizer happening here. So BBQ surely will win this trade if they commit people to the bottom lane. The teleport comes out from Galio this time around, so a good man to defend this, but Les will not stay topside, so they might just... Okay, thankfully he canceled his recall. They must protect this tower.
Yeah, he's sitting up here, and definitely a wonky spot in this game. You don't see this too often. Mickey, though, with a blue buff is going to be quite fantastic at stopping that push. But it's about to be 3-on-3 as Talia makes her way up into the top lane.
There is no equalizer, so I'm not feeling too fancy about going on this one.
Going to land the hook. Lots of damage is coming out. Bear on a rope. Bear trap on a rope will land.
Oh my God, that would be so
that would be sick.
Here's
Ryan, please.
Attack Bear.
But, yeah, I mean, with Talia coming up making it 3v3, they essentially do not have a chance to push this in. Although, Rumble is going for a recall right now.
Well, the lanes will stabilize now. It looks like the dual lane will rotate to the top side. So will ROX choose to match? Looks like the answer is no, as we're going to get right back to standard laning phase. But BBQ hasn't read the situation just yet. There's not a whole lot of information that would have told them otherwise, and as such, ROX might get another opportunity to try to push for that first brick in the bottom side of the map.
They were heading that way, but actually now they're heading towards the mid lane. What is going on, Crumbs?
These nomads just refusing to stay in the same place.
They're just adding a couple of roams to their lineup. Instead of an AD carry and support, they're adding some roam players in.
Okay, so clearly they want to avoid the 2v2 here. It must be the TP, I guess, but they can match with the Kled. So they just want to keep stalling out these lanes. They don't want to lane against the 2v2. They'll likely be getting pushed in by Zyra. So I guess they just don't want to concede pressure.
Look at that bottom lane turret. So many minions getting to work there. And we're having a fight as Linderong does charge on in, but Crazy trading back. Pretty even on the health for now. And thankfully Linderong does get there in time, but that tower is extremely low right now.
They're feeling like they could rotate with a Weaver's Wall and Lee Sin, but the response from the dual lane will be here. That's a turret that is the lowest from that attempt at the tier 1 that got easily discarded by the equalizer. And now this dual lane can't do a whole lot against the Galio. Sitting at a heap and help in the magic resist between his Negatron and that Spectre's Cowl. Talia can't even think about going up there without the Lee Sin. Otherwise, he'll likely just use his flash and Justice Punch to get out of the way.
And so we're 13 minutes in, no kills so far. But with the dual lane top here from BBQ, you were talking about that Rift Herald. Perhaps they could make a move there, not in the near future, especially because Bless is bottom lane looking to push that turret in.
Here he comes. This surely will be that first brick going down. Linderang is going to go for the recall, and as soon as he shows, he can't even choose to cancel that recall. He has no business defending this turret, so BBQ walk away victorious in this weird attempt at first brick that ROX did with a huge oversight as to the power of Rumble in a 2v1 situation.
Oh, yeah.
Nice steal.
Yeah. He does a lot of damage to Mighty Bear and steals the Scuttle Crab, especially when there could have been a little bit of pressure there onto that Rift Herald.
Now BBQ is going to be going towards that Cloud Dragon. So they're taking full use of the attempts that ROX are making all over the map and getting the best out of it. A Cloud Dragon, even though it's not the greatest reward, it is something, and that's what we want to see out of a team that is trying to focus a little bit more into the early game. And this next Dragon, 6 minutes from now, will be huge, as that Mountain Dragon means that Baron becomes a very real possibility for either a rush or maybe even a sneak.
It's going to be especially important for actually both of these teams, not only for the Baron, but because both sides have a ton of wave clear. Just pushing in the turrets is going to be very, very useful to have that Dragon.
And that wave clear means that we are going to be in for the long haul in this one.
Wouldn't have it any other way. The 2-0-3 teams draft these two compositions with a ton of wave clear.
Here we go. Finally, the 2v2s will meet eye to eye, but only after Ghost comes back with his completed Blade of the Ruin King. So he's decently spiked right now, capable of defending himself or committing for a good engage there with the slow and extra damage of that completed item. However, BBQ doesn't have any vision that is further past the river. Oh no.
Right in between the two scanners, the one ward. That's so unfortunate.
The fat man just can't catch a break.
And you can see that BBQ is trying to make a play up into the top lane, but it looked like the ROX Tigers also saw them. So, no secrets here.
It's
on
just
the Rift
such
tonight.
a stalemate because Khaled will have the pressure onto the Rumble, as he's always in danger of overcommitting and Khaled being able to chase. You have Galio that can just eliminate any threat of any 2v1 guy. Whoa, okay.
Whoa. Okay, there we go. Chain of Corruption comes down. Finally, we have a first blood going over to Ghost. That was a strange engage. Here comes Crazy with the equalizer, and the Weaver's Wall coming in from behind. They're looking to really convert on this play. That's going to be 2 kills immediately going over to BBQ. The teleport will be canceled from Linderong.
And that's exactly what you don't want to do in a situation like this. When the game is stalling out, you can feel impatient. You can feel that perhaps you must be doing something, but they have the late game composition. They should have been perfectly okay with it. As such, Mighty Bear commits with the body slam that doesn't get the lowered cooldown as it hit nothing. Tries to bop Ghost into the team, but the play was read from a mile away. The clearing of the wards was just not there, and they walk away with a Herald in the tier 1 topside, so BBQ accelerating this game out of nowhere.
Let's see how this happens. Okay, he steps on a trap. That's actually what happens, and the cast does knock him in.
Such a next level bait.
That was actually really cool. Nice play by Ghost. Of course, they didn't know that Gragas was there because he walked over the ward. And Tempt immediately there, good timing. They get the exhaust down. Bless does survive too. And Galio also a little bit late as well.
Here we go, another, we're back to a 2v2.
Oh boy, Totoro missed that root. Doesn't seem to matter. They will trade 1 for 1. But again, lots of members of ROX up into the top lane. It looks like at this moment in time, BBQ want to push the mid lane with this Rift Herald.
Here he comes, and channeled from the void to eliminate tier 1 turrets all over the world. Sled's not going to be able to defend this turret, so they walk away with the advantage once again. Great objective play from BBQ.
Oh, they're going in on this one. Looks like the knockup does miss. They can't get Linderong off Skarl. Finally, they do. But the Rift Herald, look at how much damage it's done already. And this is what you like to see. Plays with the Rift Herald where there's just no presence from the enemy team in the lanes that can get a lot of damage done like that.
At least a tier 1 in the mid lane was taken, and that opens up the map for all sides. Now they can invade this blue buff. Their vision towards the next dragon, which is going to come up in 2 minutes, is going to be so much deeper, and it will help in setting up great equalizers or looking for angles to engage for Bless. So a great move to set them up for this dragon. We're going to take another look here.
Ghost was actually standing on a ward. Nice dodge. Totoro actually does miss the root, and the heroic entrance knocks up Ghost. They trade 1 for 1.
It's that brush of death now. The top lane, nobody seems to be aware of any vision happening. And Totoro,
oh
no! Why is he there?
Oh man, they're actually going to get a flash out of Mighty Bear. Trading flash for flash is, I suppose, the best you could get when it's 5-on-1.
But this, yeah, it is the best you can get. They're trading a kill. This will be stalling out some kills as the kill goes over with the ace in the hole for Caitlyn. However, burning down flash and a big cooldown like the cask might play a big part in this upcoming dragon. You usually want to save those cooldowns for when you can get a big objective, as taking down Zyra, a living plant, doesn't really sound like a big objective considering that there are plants all over Summoner's Rift already.
I guess the only thing that they do get is, you know, they take away some engage from the ROX Tigers, of course, one of their main engage tools, but also Totoro misses his flash root engage, but that's okay. I mean, he's gonna have his ultimate with the Zyra. Also, will have the exhaust still left over, so I think it definitely is pretty okay for BBQ, especially because no objectives were taken after that kill.
And here comes the setup away. ROX securing the red buff, making sure that Sangi is going to be quite spiked for this fight as his Infinity Edge is completed. However, armor is in order for a lot of members for BBQ here, as Rumble has his Zhonya's completed. 2 Ninja Tabis have already been purchased. The vision wasn't as deep as you would have hoped to see it.
Well, here we go. Mountain Drake has spawned. The plant is going to take on the 1v1. Does lose handily.
But before any objective, you got to go for the waves first. So mid lane, priority goes towards BBQ, but Crazy will have to return to the top side if he chooses to answer the top lane turret from Kled. BBQ now choosing to commit to the dragon right away, and ROX can either fight this or engage. They're going to go for the fight.
Yeah, they're thinking about it. A couple of members do step on the traps. There's a hook onto Crazy and the play, but he is going in big. The heroic entrance knocks up Crazy here. Really isolated from his team, and the flash on in with the cast. It looks like that dragon will go over to BBQ, but now they've got to escape. See how many flashes they use here. Already 2. One member is going to go down. Lee Sin can hop the wall.
And that exhaust from Key was so crucial in that fight. As soon as Rumble gets hooked, one of the main damage dealers in these early stages of the game, the fight has almost surely gone ROX's way, as they're stuck inside the pit with no real ways to get in safety, considering that only Lee Sin has an escape move in this composition. So commitment to the dragon without taking care of the lanes and getting the vision necessary to play it safely means that the ROX Tigers get 2 kills, and while they do lose that dragon as the smite went over Bless's way, the game does continue to stall out, and this just benefits them. But they are not happy with the speed of this game at all.
This is an interesting play. They know that a lot of members just went down. They burned so many summoners. So if they can force a fight here at Baron, it should go in ROX's way. And look at Galio, the 2 traps with Galio in the fronts, just zoning them out so well. The teleport from behind, though, already doing a lot of damage on the left side. He's essentially going 1v4. Key and lots of members of ROX getting super low, but Bless jumps in early and gets taken out. Crazy also getting hooked. That will be the Baron going over to ROX, and this game is immediately turned on its head.
And the zone control from the traps was just too much. This is what happens when your tanks just don't exist. Lee Sin is not capable of sustaining himself through those crit headshots, and then you have Galio, the big bully, protecting the entrances, so nobody has the audacity to try to step in and try to get something into this pit. And ROX Tigers take full advantage of the situation, and what could have been a huge throw turns out to be a huge play in their favor. However, the gold is still dead even.
Well, we'll see how many objectives they can get with this Baron. They definitely will have a lot of pressure in the mid lane already with the Baron infused minions coming down.
the Talia wave could just go down the drain when you're dealing with empowered minions.
You gotta wait for all the members of ROX to group up if they do want to get this turret. Do have a lot of zoning and sieging power with this Caitlyn.
Nobody can step on the traps. It's imperative to clear them, as we saw what could have either been a bait or Ghost actually just trying to clear the wards to open up some position into the top side. And because of that, this composition that was all about the early game now has no windows if ROX chooses to group. There's no damage going onto Mickey, as there are no penetration items.
Yeah.
Even with penetration, look at him.
He's just standing behind the turret. He's so lucky. Zyra doesn't do any damage to him. Neither does Lee Sin.
May I take your order, please? Damage? Sorry, we're out.
Like, okay, maybe he'll die here. No. No, he won't. Okay, maybe now he will. So many roots coming down. Will it? Can he please die? Okay, finally. We kill the Galio, thankfully. And yeah, I think he just got a little bit too overconfident.
Oh, at least the Mickey pick on the Galio pick on Mickey means that it takes him that much longer for him to die, and as such, at least it opens up the opportunity for Linderang to split push onto the Kled, get a turret, but we are nowhere near damage items onto Galio for this competition. 2 AP members, a early to mid-game damage jungler, and a carry that's based on utility. We can expect him to take even longer to die in these upcoming fights.
ROX is really pushing the issue with this Baron. They take out 3 turrets already, and an immediate rotation down into bot lane with a very strong wave, it looks like. It's like a decent wave coming that way. They can definitely push this in, and so far BBQ hasn't really shown that they have the tools needed to deal with this push.
It's a decent wave, but the Baron turns it gnarly, and as such, they are going to be able to probably push this one as well, because you just set up the trap line, and who waves clear this? Who can defend against this turret? You have Galio that can come in with the heroic entrance. Here's 3 members. They don't have enough vision in the entrances to the red side, so they're feeling cautious about this move. They know that the game should be in their hands at this stage, so they just have to play it safe, and it should all be going their way.
I'm glad you point out how literally no one can step on these traps. They have no tank on the side of BBQ. They have no front line. Basically, they just have a whole boatload of damage with the Rumble in the top lane, the Lee Sin to make those plays. But when you get behind like this, what are you going to do to this Galio? What are you going to do against Galio, Gragas, Thresh? Just Galio.
Realistically, the only chance they have is if Bless gets an incredible engage.
Okay, well, it looks like ROX wants to engage here, as Ghost does get taken out very early on. Let's see if they can actually get that kill. Finally, Linderang does. And that was definitely a pretty deep dive for the ROX Tigers, but they do convert into 1 more kill and a turret.
It was a super deep dive, but Caitlyn wasn't even a real part of it. She was actually tanking the tower and forced to de-aggro and take down the turret herself, so they walk away with the objective. But consider that the main DPS of this team composition wasn't really active, save for maybe 2 autos, so we'll take another look right there. Mickey getting real fancy there, going with the Justice Punch, or just charges the taunt, and I believe he flashes onto Ghost, but take a look at Caitlyn there.
Yeah,
turret, 1, 2, hey, I'm out.
Does like a little bit of damage, but as you were saying, tanks the turret basically the entire time, forced to back off. And, well, I mean, it's still worked out for the ROX Tigers. This is kind of the fun, wonky dives that we can get in a game between the 2 0-3 teams.
You just wish it was a little closer for BBQ. That they could have some great play, and we were talking about what can BBQ do. It's got to be Bless singling out Sangyun and taking him out immediately. If they can remove Caitlyn right away, there's a chance. There's a fighting chance, right? There are damage items onto the lineup of BBQ. It's not like these champions can't kill anybody, but if they're given time and space without Caitlyn being there, it's really all they have going for it. Get a Lee Sin past Gragas, whose body slam can interrupt both your dashes. Past the Thresh, who's got Lantern and again can interrupt both your dashes. On top of the Caitlyn flash, on top of the Galio.
Hope you don't get taunted meanwhile.
It's a tall order to say the least.
Knocked up. Yeah. And I feel like even if he does get Sangyun, they can try to you know,
And
blast
there's
him out.
the
They gotta
Galley
burst him.
ultimate
Yeah,
actually
exactly.
on top of it.
That's what I was going to say. The heroic entrance basically makes it so you have to get the perfect engage through all of
He's
that you
thinking
mentioned.
about it, but he steps on the trap.
You have to get Songyun like right on top of the Zyra, and she needs to get rooted and killed immediately. That's basically their only chance here.
At least it seems like they have discussed this plan, as Bless did make an attempt but was slow on the ward hop. They're thinking about it again, but as long as Gragas and Thresh Pardon stay next to Caitlyn, don't really see it happening unless we see an insect level of when it really first came out, the speed at which you could make those Lee Sin plays. It's just so rare.
Well, Bless, he's been practicing that Lee Sin. We'll see if he can actually make it happen. And there's also, you know, it's not like BBQ's playing against SKT here, let's be real. There's also the opportunity for the Tigers to make a mistake. Like someone like Mickey, even with how tanky he is, like you said, lots of members on BBQ, once they begin to add some penetration items in, if Mickey gets a little bit too far forward, they can definitely take him out if he's, you know, going completely Rambo. And maybe from there, you make a play. Maybe not the Galio, maybe Mighty Bear on Gragas, someone like that, or Linderong charges a little bit too far forward on the Kled.
But the chances now have diminished with a smart purchase from Sangi as he has completed that QSS. The charge is coming really far away.
Oh, he's forced to go in here. Okay, we'll dash away. And immediately, with the Baron spawning, they go on top of that. We'll see if they can zone out just as well as the last one. Oh, Bless, he tried to go in. He's going to get burst down. Almost gets taken out here. Look at all the knockups and everything used onto Mickey. He will easily just take the Lantern and get out. Has still half of his HP that can immediately turn onto the Baron. And BBQ, they are face-palming hard right now.
That was every member of BBQ hitting down Galio.
Okay, heroic entrance, Ghost getting a little bit too far forward, trying to be the hero, take away that Baron, but will just pay for it with his life, and seems quite helpless at this point.
No heroes for BBQ this time around. Unfortunately, their window has long closed. There is no sunlight coming into them this time around, so they will have to reassess their draft, as the late game scaling from ROX really played into their hands because they didn't make any moves in the early stages of the game. And the first gank from Mighty Bear, you have to credit to being responsible just for slowing down BBQ's early game attempts. So a really smart item or pathing choice from Mighty Bear to make sure that the composition has an easy time laning, that Caitlyn is ensured to have a smooth and safe laning phase, and ever since then they just haven't let go.
Well, Mickey up in the front, and we do have the Weaver's Wall coming on in. It looks like BBQ wants to make an engage happen. Lots of damage coming out from Crazy on the left side. Mighty Bear getting quite low, but immediately once he backs off and Mickey steps in the front, there's just nothing that BBQ can do. They're going to lose 2 turrets from this push already. That
would have been a sick Weaver's Wall had there been an equalizer, but it was used in that Baron defense, so it wasn't up, and ROX does not panic. They're okay with taking on that 4-on-5 because Linderang is also pushing that tier 1 to the mid lane.
Oh boy, attempt a little, and immediately ROX Tigers take advantage of that. We'll take out a significant portion of BBQ's wave clear. It's going to be 2 inhibitors going down at nearly the same time. Linderang kind of just playing his own PvE game today. Just pushing the side lanes.
This one's done.
GG.
You can't surrender. We rarely had seen those days in League. I kind of wish we had surrender. There's some hot debate about why would you not surrender, right? And why would you surrender? Well, the first benefit, and one of the few, is that it does interrupt teams that are based on confidence. And if they're crushing you for this long and the game continues, you might be building the morale of the team that continues to win. So if you surrender, you can see it as a disruption of that. Just a flash onto Thalia. Do we really need to see her get deleted?
Totoro flash is about 2 centimeters to the right.
But alternatively, why would you not surrender? Well, it's not a good image for your team, for your organization if you're quitters.
Especially because it's so rare. Nowadays, imagine if you just saw a random surrender, people would think like one person is like screaming in the booth or something, because that just never happens.
Yeah, and think of yourself as an owner. You invest in the team, like, all right, I'm ready to see my team do well. You don't know League of Legends too well. You just know that esports is the next hot thing, and you see your team surrender, you're not going to be too happy about that one.
Yeah. The big thing in Korea is you know, saving face, showing a good face, especially for your sponsors, for your organization. If you're surrendering, it's not very good. Another good thing for not surrendering is you have a lot of time to talk about the draft, right? If you're thinking about the actual time you're given during the draft to make those calls, it's not that much. So while you're getting pushed in, you can say, okay, what is the plan for next game's draft?
Actually, there was a game in a major tournament a while back, and it wasn't League of Legends, but the team actually chose to take the entire game that they were getting crushed in to just talk about they just sat in base. They didn't even leave the base. Let's just debate. So they were just talking about the next game, and I believe it actually worked as they bounced back and won that next match. So there is some value in that. However, you don't have your coach inside the booth, so it's hard to review exactly what happened.
Well, we're going to see ROX Tigers pushing in the final turret, final inhibitor. It will be all three going down. And Mickey is just untouchable at this point. They're too far ahead. He can dive 1v5 for about 10-15 seconds and probably will just lantern out at this point. Cast comes down, temp is too low, and Bless gets knocked from the team and gets taken out. This is going to be game number one. Go over to the ROX Tigers. A good showing for them. Not too long of a game, just about 35 minutes, and they make it happen.
And Mickey lives again. He comes to heroic entrance. He wants to make a good picture. However, not timed with the victory screen, so it's not going to be that pretty.
Always got to take something away from Mickey, don't you? So,
hey, we gave him so much.
We did. He played a very tanky Galio. That's what I'll say. So, they do take game number one here. ROX Tigers do. Feeling pretty great about their chances in this series.
In a calm fashion, they were never really under threat. There were no moves being made from BBQ. They were a little overzealous with the rotations. They did end up losing that first break with some attempt. One swap with the dual lane, forgetting that Rumble's equalizer can really eliminate all that. And looks of disappointment here from BBQ, as not really sure what happened for them this time around. Like, how did we lose so hard? You never consider the draft and the speed at which you have to play your draft. It can leave you dumbfounded when these games happen that just seemingly have no way for you to fall back in.
Lots of camera time here for Mickey. Do you feel like he played an exceptional Galio game, or do you feel like he was just doing his job?
I don't think there was anything exceptional in this game. Heroic entrance comboed with the equalizer just ends up making a Rumble into a bounce house, but everybody from BBQ is stuck inside the pit. They have no way of getting out, and with Sangin in the back, the threat of these frontline tanks with a Caitlyn protecting them and nobody to reach them just makes it so difficult to play out this composition when you don't have a lead. And they transition this one quite well into this Baron. This is the
21-minute Baron.
It's the pinnacle of the game here with Galio just zoning out everybody. He knows he's not taking any damage. They're trying to ignore him. They can't even do anything to him.
They try to go around him, but with triple Doran's ring, you're still actually doing a decent amount of damage, especially to the somewhat squishy Lee Sin and Talia. So
it's like trying to get
so annoying.
Get past a huge bouncer.
It's not going to happen. Yeah. He's going to throw you out on the street.
Only money gets you there.
And here he is doing it again. I think this is the only time he actually dies.
Yeah. He's tanking 3 plants at the same time. Not a lot of people can tank 3 Zyra plants. Remember just how much damage those little plants do. He's tanking more members, then he gets rooted, then he gets cooked, then the strangle thorns come out. He's still not dead, and just at the very end of it, he finally goes down.
Still almost lived. This was a pretty nice engage. He opened up that play onto Ghost, but at this point, ROX was still very, very far ahead.
There's a good cast there from Mighty Bear, zoning out that Gragas, and it just made it so easy, considering that there is no defense. Oh, here's the.
Oh yeah, I want to see this again. He gets taunted, and Bless is like, damn. Okay.
Not a good time to be a late game Lee Sin. That was 5 members. That was 5 members attacking Galio for maybe 5 to 10 seconds.
Yeah. Still had about half health.
And they still try, he re-engages with his ultimate. It's just not enough for him.
Yeah. Well, let's take a look at the results. Only about 10,000 gold ahead, and you can see that BBQ had more drakes, but it just... Rumble had a lot of chip damage throughout the game, and you can see even Talia and the Varus are ahead of all the damage on the side of the ROX Tigers. It just didn't matter.
Not at all. And now next game we can expect BBQ to say this early game composition, this draft really just isn't for us right now. Let's just go ahead and play the game that ROX played and go with the full-on late game. And we can reverse engineer the draft and think that maybe giving away the Lee Sin was a plan to have the better late game scaling jungler and make sure that the composition just fit to their expectations.
Perhaps. So guys, we're going to take a short commercial break. When we come back, we'll jump into game number 2 of the BBQ Olivers versus the ROX.